What's up, people? You know I had to be late. I'm on CP time. What's going on? What's going on? Turn this mic on. Can y'all hear me? Can you close the door for me? Let's see. What's up, Gabe? I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling. Yeah, no. Um, I went live earlier today, and I was on Facebook, so I had to go live from my YouTube because I haven't been giving y'all any love. I got my face burnt up. I set my face on fire, so if you see my face look a little different, that's what that is. But I want to talk about this CNN report and why would they release this right now, and what does it mean, and what are we supposed to do with this information? And my first question would be, did we not know this under Obama? Did we not know this stuff under Bush? Did we not know this stuff under all other presidents? It's almost like, what is the purpose of the media and CNN if all they're going to do is be negative? So what would be the end result if we close down New York Life because they're attached to slaves or slavery, when we all know America was founded and built on slavery? So that means if you have a company like that or any big company like that, if you look back far enough, you're going to find this tied to all of them. And how is that going to help your life? How is that going to affect your life? I just don't see how that's going to help you. Virtue signaling and somebody knocking down statues, changing names and exposing businesses. If you get upset and shut down New York Life, this company is a big company. It's all over the world. So essentially what you're saying is it's not going to stop at New York Life. You're going to be closing down large companies all over the world, which in turn will put you out of work. Will put a lot of Americans out of work. So once they're out of work, then what? We haven't learned anything from Detroit and how Detroit was a booming, thriving city, and we burned it down. And Detroit was like Atlanta. Now look at Detroit. Those businesses left, and people are feeling the effects of Detroit and what they did to this day. So why would we repeat the same cycle because some people are upset? Elite cat class trucking, looking forward to this. Yeah, I just don't understand. I don't understand how we can't see the trick. I still want to know, whoever CNN, can you report some of the Democratic policies? Because to me, I want to grab fucking Don Lemon in the headlock and say, bring your ass over here. Cuomo, I don't want to grab him. He a gangster off camera. Cuomo is shit. When he in that bar, I don't want to I don't want to say his name wrong because he might whip my ass too. But Cuomo a gangster, so I'm gonna leave Cuomo alone. But I just don't understand, why are they there just as a distraction? You're like the bearer of bad news. Every fucking day is something. Every day you showing Americans a video. We don't get the full story of the video. It's broken down, and you before you do any fact checking, before you do anything, you put it out, and now we're upset about something. Then sometimes it turns out that what you're reporting is wrong. So how is shutting down New York Life going to help the Black community? How is closing companies going to help the Black community? How is burning up cities going to help the Black community? I was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was walking downtown. I bought a hat, I bought a shirt. I said, hey man, if you don't mind me asking, why is it so many all the businesses, even the police station, with boards all over the doors? They said, oh well, a lot. We had a protest and they broke all the windows out. So damn, I started to look. They didn't skip over the Black businesses. Their windows are bust out too. So what are we really trying to accomplish here? What is the end game? What is the goal? You know, I'm not trying to argue. I just don't understand why people don't see what the fuck is going on. Every 4 years, they hit you over the fucking head with racism. They divide us. They already got us going into different corners. If you're LGBT, you over here in this corner. If you're heterosexual, you better shut the fuck up. If you are a woman, you over here. And if you're this, you over here. And then everybody come out fighting. It's like, what the fuck? Is this America or not? You can have your opinion, and I don't have to like your opinion. I don't have to agree with it, but I can respect it. Now we're demonizing people based on our viewpoints, and I don't think that makes any sense. We're supposed to be an educated people. How come some of the most educated people now, to me, sound so uneducated? Now it's all about shaming people and making them look bad and saying all kind of dumb shit that don't make any sense. We'll make up a fucking word to try to box somebody into not being able to use their free speech. What's up, K-Mac? Just like 2016, their only policy is to get rich off Trump. Why? Oh, he is a racist. Shaking my head. I'm tired of reading from the same old manuscript and the same old handbook that somebody is racist. Okay, what if I raise my hand and say I don't like white people? I don't give a fuck what policy you pass. I don't give a fuck what you try to do. You can't convince me to like you. So why are we talking about that shit so much? Why are we not focusing on the three things that Larry Elder and all of these Thomas Sowell and all of these wise men talk about? Why are we not focusing on not having children out of wedlock? Why are we not focusing on graduating high school? Why are we not focused on getting a job? Those are three things that'll keep you out of poverty. And people that are doing well and being successful, they ain't talking about race all fucking day. So no matter what we talk about with Trump, everybody go crazy. Somebody put a post up and said Trump was the worst president in history. And I said, damn, I'm kind of nervous because anytime you say something about Trump, any positive thing, you'll get ridiculed. You'll get somehow you in trouble. But after the video I watched with the Breakfast Club with Angela Stanton, I'm like, damn, she said some pretty good stuff that I can look up. And some people that I already watched on YouTube said some good things that I already knew. So I go and look up all these things and it's like, boom, boom, boom. Everything this sister said checked out. So why was she met with so much hostility and Joe Biden got to have Charlemagne the God by himself and he didn't answer one fucking question? Hey, by the way, before you let your wife go cook, what you gonna do for the black community? Oh shit, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I'm out of this bitch. And he go, it's like, what the fuck? That's what we gonna do? And we grill a black woman 3-on-1. 3-on-1, we on this woman's head. Like, that's crazy. Which one is it? It's the disrespect and the hypocrisy. Somebody has to call it out. First is respect all women, especially a black woman. This woman checked out all the check marks. She went to prison. She was on welfare. She's from the neighborhood. You said you want to police your own neighborhood, and we disrespect her the way that we did. We disrespect this woman the way that they did. We say something about school choice. Everybody say, oh, school choice, parents can't get their kids to school. What? Man, please. I know if school choice happened here, I damn sure can afford some gas to get my son to school. And I think we all can if we rearrange some priorities. If we not focus on things that we shouldn't be focused on and focus on the right thing. How come we don't sound like the men and women of back in the day that we can do? How come we sound like we can't do shit without somebody getting it to us? Hold it down. Agree. Voting for him again. I mean, shit. I just don't get it. It's so much research that show some of the positive things that Trump has done, despite the rhetoric. And I understand we all can harp on the negative rhetoric. We could talk about it. We could talk about it on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. Everybody got a history. Everybody got a past. So I think if you love somebody and you let it go, and we say we one nation under God, we together, you let that shit go. It's like, goddamn, Black Lives Matter. It started off to me as a good thing. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah, because Black lives do matter. But at the end of the day, this organization doesn't seem like it's inclusive to all Black lives. An 8-year-old gets shot in Atlanta. Kids get shot in Chicago. Black Lives Matter don't show up. It's like they only show up when the cops shoot somebody else. And I know the whole scenario is, oh, we trying to help. There's a lot of things that policies and things that sound like we were trying to help, like Planned Parenthood. It sounds very good. 501 babies a month. That's not good. No Child Left Behind. That's $80 million spent to not leave a child behind. And to me, when I heard the platform, I'm like, so wait a minute. You're going to let a kid go to 8.5. His peers are going to see this. They're definitely going to pick on this kid. And this is supposed to help him? Like, I never understood that. And so look at the results. It sounded good, but the results is it did not work. And so we always jump on the bandwagon of things that sound good and things that sound like they have good purpose, but we don't never do some digging and see what was the effects of what this thing said. What was the effects? 9 times out of 10, anything that sounded good for the black community, 94 crime bill sounded good. Some black people jumped in on it. What was the effects of that? It's time to not listen to things that sound good. We got tangible things right now. We got so many black people in position right now to help evoke change. Most of the police departments are ran by majority black, some of them, not all. So we have to do better as a people, in my opinion. Is there some shit going on? Yes. But I do like what Larry Elder said, and I watch him a lot. He said, things are good. He said his father told him, son, things are going to happen in your life. And the way that you deal with those things, let me know if I raised a man or not. And I think that's what Jack Johnson, that's what Muhammad Ali, people who were really, really oppressed and really went through things, that's how I think they approach life. Jack Johnson wouldn't be denied the heavyweight championship. He followed everybody around, and when he got the opportunity, he did what he was supposed to do. We are a strong people. So why are we sounding so weak? And I don't get it. Black Lives Matter is a joke. I mean, you got to show your face to be able to say something like that. Yeah, Tommy did do a great job with her, though. But I understand why you ain't showing your face. There ain't really no judgment too much, because I do understand showing your face and saying some of the things that I'm saying will get you fucked up, will get you fired, will get the whole world talking about you. And I understand that. But at the end of the day, we got to have somebody. I seen that sister get on the Breakfast Club, and that was inspiring to me. She went in the belly of the beast. She was getting disrespectful treatment. She wasn't allowed to say one policy. And she came there to talk about what she could do for the black community. And they made that second tier to trying to demonize her and make her seem like she don't like the LGBT community and all these things. But she hit every check mark. And that's one thing that they can't stand. The people of the powers that be that's moving this chessboard around, they can't stand a woman that hit every check mark, because you can't demonize her. You can't call her a name. You can't say things to her that you could say to me. And, you know, whatever come my way from this video, I don't give a shit. It'll just prove that blacks are a monolithic thought. We have to all think the same. Anytime somebody can see, and I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. Everybody says that because they're so afraid. I'm actually honest. I wasn't even into politics. I just don't like some bullshit. I don't like the lies. I can see one side gets a different treatment than the other side. And I think that everybody who's an honest person can actually see that. CTT said, fucked up with that interview. Oh yeah, they did fuck up with that interview, because it just showed like, damn, this woman is saying something that your auntie would say. She's saying something that your mama would say. Like, yeah, I respect you and I respect what you got going on. But see, before, the way this thing has been going, they've been stopping the butt. It's either get down or lay down. I think Beanie Siegel, he owed a check, because the way this shit going now, this is a mob mentality, get down or lay down. And a lot of things happened in my life that made me see things different. You know, I grew up saying fuck the police because my family taught me that. But now my nephew is the police. So when you have people saying fuck the police and let's kill cops, Now I see it from a totally different lens, and it's messed up that I have to see it in that way now. But my nephew's a cop, so, and I know many other people or family members that have cops in their family. That's not cool. You know, that's somebody's husband, that's somebody's son. We got to get back to love. We got to get back to understanding that these people have families too. And I want to share something with y'all that Sean told me, because I asked one of my friends. I have a good friend. He's a neighbor of mine. He's a Mason. So I just pick his brain. I asked him, I said, man, what do you see what's going on? Because I just don't see how you come back from that. Like some of the rhetoric that we get to say that white folks don't necessarily get to say. Like, do you just go back to work and work around them after talking the way you talking? After creating that post and saying it loud? Like, do you just go back to work? Like, how do you go back from that? And he sent me a text. He said, I'm gonna read it to you. He said, this is something that I always say. He said, you never burn a bridge you have to cross, because one day you will hit a dead end and have to turn around. You will have no way back. So remember, every bridge you cross, respect it, cross it with caution, learn from it, and you never know when you may need it. And I thought that was deep. I'm like, dude, you know, and that's an old adage that we always say, never burn any bridges. But I think right now America is burning a lot of inner bridges. It's like, it's okay to be Democrat. It's okay to be Republican. But at the end of the day, this is America. We can't infight and protect ourselves from everybody else. You know, if everybody handled the presidency like we're doing right now, no, a lot of people don't like Trump. We get it. We see it all over the news. But at the end of the day, do you want to see America suffer because you don't like Trump? Now, what if the other side get in and the majority is white folks and they want to do the same thing and do the same tactics while they're the majority? Now it's going to be fucked up. What we're doing right now is fucked up. And yes, it was some unfortunate events unfold, human error. I don't think everything need to be painted up under this umbrella of racism, when in every field there's human error, there's mistakes. Kanye West's mother died on the operating table. No disrespect to Kanye, his family. That was an unfortunate event, but that happens more than unarmed black men getting killed. That is a fact. So we have to realize that in every field there's mistakes and there's things that's going to happen. Now, we definitely need to call everybody to justice when that happens. Let me see. I got somebody that's trying to get in. What's up, Zim?
Not much, bro. How you doing?
All right. You gonna get on camera or you gonna stay like that?
This ain't going live for all the United States, see?
Yeah, just stay like that, then.
Okay.
Yeah. We can hear you, but we can't see you.
All right, bro.
So what's going on, bro?
Hey, just another day. Just thanking you for being here, man.
So give everybody, I know you don't want to show your face, but can you give us a little bit of your background and how you feel about certain situations?
Oh yeah. As you, I know you know, my name is Jim Nixon. I'm a veteran in the United States Navy. I have a huh? My wife trying to make sure I stay on point with what I say.
Yeah, make sure you don't say that. That's going to expose yourself.
Yeah, I have
How do you feel about some of the rhetoric towards the police officer?
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good question. I mean, the way I look at it, brother, being a veteran, I was always for justice and freedom of speech and in areas like that. I was always for a society that can work in harmony in certain things. But as we know now, even in the military, even out here in the civilian world, harmony isn't what you get every day. I mean, you've got, you got people acting the way they act because we can act the way we want to act, and we also have our justice system that doesn't suit us the best in a lot of areas. So when I see a lot of this stuff that's going on, from lives being taken because of police brutality, and also police lives being taken as a result, trying to stand up to make a society peaceful, man, I think it's a bad thing all the way around, because where is the point to where we can meet in the middle? And then at this point in time, if you really want to be honest with it, it's a growing up state. People, we have to grow up in order to be able to meet in the middle.
What do you mean by grow up? Because that's the same thing that I was saying. Like, how do you get past the animosity and the anger and get to the healing? Because if we all America, we understand that some mistakes are made. But do you like what's going on now? Is that the way to go? Is this fixing it?
Well, when I say grow up, it's kind of like this. If you want to move forward, you're going to have to, personally, if you want to move forward in something, you're going to have to be able to table what's in the past. You have to be able to put it down in order to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't put it down, even though it might not be good, if you can't put it down, you can pretty much hang it up. You can pretty much hang up on trying to move forward, because you always got, it's like you're trying to run around a track and you got a chain with bricks on the end of it.
Right.
You probably didn't put the bricks on there, but if you want to speed up and make some progress, you got to cut them bricks off.
Right. So why do you feel like it's so hard for somebody like myself? You know my background, you know where I come from, or anybody who says anything positive about something that some of the Republicans are doing. Why is it met with so much animosity and no checking of the facts, just straight character assassination?
Well, what I think is, I mean, first of all, being where you came from, and you work hard to get where you at. And I think that certain people think that because you have obtained what you have, and they figure, hey, that you should be on a certain party side. Mm-hmm. You should be more involved in it because, yeah, look at your status. Look at this. Or you get those same people like, man, don't ever forget where you come from. You know what we got to do? We got to stick together. But in your situation, brother, it ain't like that.
Okay, we just added Miss Genesis 1 on. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I was the one that said that Black Lives Matter is a joke.
Okay, why do you feel like that?
Because my personal opinion, Black Lives Matter only represent when the police do something to Black people. But what about when there's so much? But what about when there's so much destruction in our community? Black Lives Matter is nowhere to be found. It's nowhere to be found. If you're going to talk about Black Lives Matter, then all Black lives should matter on all aspects of everything that we do. I just think that.
What do you say to the people, not to cut you off, what do you say to the people that's going to answer like this? That's not their mission. That's not their fight.
Then they shouldn't have an organization that says Black Lives Matter.
Good answer.
Yeah, I agree.
Zim, what do you think?
I agree.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Zim, I was asking him, what does he think about that?
Yeah, I agree with the same thing, brother. I mean, it's like a garden. I mean, if you want to plant a garden and you want to make it the best garden and make it attractive to support life and stuff, man, you gotta move the weeds out of it.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that anti-police rhetoric, I think I saw a video like a couple years ago. I think it was a sheriff. I think it was Duncan Clark or something like that. I think everybody called him a coon. He predicted the anti-police rhetoric was going to turn into this. He said you can't send a message like that because the police are going to take a step back. And now that you look at crime, it's going up. So if Black Lives Matter and all these movements are put in place to help Black people, why in the Chaz and Chop zone that we know that 2 or 3 Black men got killed? I think it was like 2. So Black men are still getting killed in your Chaz or your Chop zones?
But I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing with Ray Ray and them when they're out there acting wild and doing all this nonsense? That little girl that got shot in the head and she was dancing with her mother in the living room. She's an 8-year-old kid. She got shot in the head.
Yeah.
What? There's no protest for that. There was another little, I think it was a 4-year-old boy that got shot from coming home from getting a haircut.
Right.
Come on.
And anybody who say what myself and you are saying, they attack us. They say we're trying to bash or tear down an organization. And I'm like, no, in order to be taken serious, we have to treat ourselves serious. We have to look at and talk about the things that's going on in our community and understand what's really going on instead of being fed a line of, to me, BS.
Yeah,
what happened to, sorry, go ahead.
No, ma'am, you go ahead, ma'am.
What happened to self-respect? What happened to dignity? What happened to pride? What happened to love? What happened to, accountability?
Yeah.
What happened to, I want to make something out of myself? What happened to, I want to make my parents proud? What happened to, I don't want to be a lowlife? What happened to, I don't want to live in shit, excuse my language? What happened to, I want to wake up and be able to have a decent life and work hard and go to work? What happened to that? Now, I'm not bashing welfare, Section 8, or whatever, fine, because anything can happen in life. But if you see yourself with an opportunity and somebody's reaching out a hand, don't step on it.
Right.
Use that hand to help you to get to where you want to be and better yourself. All this crap about, oh, this person is holding me down, that person is holding me down. I'm tired of it. I am so sick and tired of it. And I'm telling you right now, people don't even talk to me. People don't even talk to me because I can't deal with the crap. I cannot deal with the crap. Nobody is holding you down but yourself. But yourself. The government wasn't in the club when you were bumping and grinding with Ray Ray and them, and you go home with some dude that you don't know, have unprotected sex with some dude that you don't know his last name, you don't know where he lived, and then all of a sudden you want to take this bum to child support court and he doesn't show up because you don't know his name. And then you're moaning and groaning about how the government isn't giving you enough money to feed your kid. I can't deal with it. I cannot deal with it. At the end of the day, if we don't get smart and get off our butts and stop moaning and groaning and complaining, this is 2020. 20. Look at all those people that were in the 50s and 60s and 40s, even back into the early 1900s who went to work and had jobs.
They don't talk about that. They don't even talk about now, just the opportunities we have now. But Zim, I'm gonna give you a chance to see. Do you have anything to say about what she's been saying?
I agree with him. I think what gets me is you ever heard, I know you've heard of it, the crab in the basket mentality.
Yeah, crabs in the barrel.
I mean, so basically that's what's going to me. I think that when you're marching for and out there trying to say Black Lives Matter, right now you're acting like crabs in the basket. It's all, I mean, when you look at it, because there's a lot more going on than just, Black people getting killed, white people getting killed. I mean, look at our neighborhoods, just like she's saying. I mean, we got a battle that's going on in our neighborhoods because there's poverty, because there is that mentality where there's a large neighborhood welfare. You got all of this stuff going on, but yet still we're jacking our own folks on the street. We selling crack to our own folks on the street. But then when something happens with police brutality, now we want to go 30,000 strong marching for that, when I believe the whole world is sitting back looking at, how in the world can they get out there and say Black Lives Matter when look at them, they already saying they're killing each other.
Yeah.
I mean, once we can get out of that mentality, if we was to go back within, rebuild what we have, because we have an awful lot as a Black community, of Black people to bring to the table.
Right.
But you can't bring nothing to the table when you're too busy tearing the legs out from underneath the table.
Yeah. So, Miss Genesis, I want to ask you a question, because everybody's in the chat. They like your perspective on a lot of stuff. So what do you think? Do you know anything about school choice?
I'm not really familiar with school choice. I don't really have any kids, so it's not really affecting me. But I think if I were a parent, if I may speak, if I were a parent and there was an opportunity to send my kid to a better school, then I would do whatever it is within my power to do it. If they needed me to wash the steps every day, I'm there at 6 o'clock in the morning. Do whatever it is. If you need to move to a better neighborhood to get your kid the education that his or she needs to get to that level where they can have a decent life, then why wouldn't you do it?
Right.
Why are we so concerned about what everybody else thinks about us in the neighborhood, but yet not looking at the broader perspective of the world? The world is bigger than the 4-block radius of where you live.
Right.
Why do we think, oh, you know, it's just the corner store and the laundromat and the gas station and, you know, whoever. You have to open up your mind. You have to open up your mind and think broader. I don't get it. And then the thing too that really gets me is when you want to do better, all of a sudden everybody else has an attitude about it. Who does she think she is? She thinks she's better than us, and da da da. Then they start throwing rocks at your house. Mm-hmm. That's when you got to move.
Right.
If you have to move and live in a 1-bedroom with you and your kids and tough it out for the next 5-6 years, then do that. Mm-hmm. Then do that. Mm-hmm. Do what you have to do to make your life better. Nobody's going to come in and save you. Yeah. Nobody's saving anybody.
I agree.
And I don't understand why we just can't get it. Wake up. Nobody's coming to save you. You've got to save yourself. If not, we're going to die. We are going, forget about abortion, forget about us killing each other, forget about us going to jail. We're just going to die.
Yeah.
We are going to die. And what legacy do you want to leave for your kids? What legacy do you want to leave for your kids? What do you want for yourself? Don't you want a better life? Don't you want to be able to walk free and hold your head up in dignity and say, okay, you know what? I struggle it out and here I am today. What is the problem? Why can't we just get it?
I think it's hard for us to see a positive image when everything we see on negativity is everything we see on the TV is negativity and it's being rewarded. You get a check for acting a certain way. So what do you say to our culture and the things that our culture and the way it has an effect on how these young men are playing out in the streets, this war games with shooting each other?
Okay, people are going to really roast me for this. At the end of the day, it comes down to your household. It comes down to your household. It comes down to what you were taught from the basic level. I used to be a kindergarten teacher. And these kids would come into my classroom, and at 4 years old, they're acting out, and Black people would look at me and tell me, oh, well, you know, this never happened before. They only started doing this when they came into your classroom and blah, 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 blah. I said, listen, you know what? I'm going to talk to you privately, and I'm going to tell it to you straight. If you don't get a handle on it, your kid is going to be labeled, and you're going to have a tough time. By the time this kid gets into grade 7, you're lost. Take your kid home, sit that kid down, and ask the kid, why are you angry? Why are you upset? Why do you feel this way? Have open communication with your child. Talk to your kids. And you might not want to hear it because they're going to say, you know what, you fucked up and I don't like you.
Right.
And this is why I'm angry. But be prepared to hear the truth. Because at the end of the day, if you can't even talk to your own kid, what are you going to do? Talk to the cops and you're on TV crying? Another thing, how is it that all these mothers are crying on TV and you never see the father? Where's the father? All of these mothers are crying about, oh, their kid, you know, got shot by the cops and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Where is the father? So you're trying to tell me, right, the dude that got you pregnant doesn't give a shit about his kid, that the kid's been murdered? And he's not there holding you up for support?
You going into some dangerous territories that they don't want to talk about that.
But hold on. But you're there. Your weave is perfect. Your nails are done. You got the best outfit on. Your kid isn't even cold. And you're standing up there bawling God off the cross and then all of a sudden you have a GoFundMe account? I can't.
You're right. I mean, I'm agreeing. I mean, I've heard all these talking points, but every time someone speak about that, then they're demonized. But Zim, I want to ask you a question. Given your military background, and I know you're, you know, how you take care of yourself as a man. So I want to ask you, with the things that's going on in the media, and I think I saw a white couple defending their property. So I'm just going to take out color. I'm just going to bring you into the scenario. If someone kicked down your gate, your wife, your family is home, this is your private residence, your private property, how would you handle it?
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I'm a man that likes freedom.
Mm-hmm.
If I got freedom, I can take care of my family another day. Mm-hmm. I'm there with them. I'm all for defending and protecting your family and your home.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing you got to realize, one thing everybody got to realize is that what are you willing to fight for and what are you willing to lose? Now that couple that this protesting is going on and you're in the house and somebody kicked down your gate and they're marching in your front yard. Okay, I'll defend that. But at that particular point, that's when I just pick the phone up and just call the police.
They said they did, and the police wasn't responding because at this time it's protest. So we're saying this, the scenario is this: you called the cops, nobody's responding. It's you and your wife. You've seen the destruction, what's going on in the cities. They already broke your gate. What do you do? Okay,
they broke the gate. I wouldn't resort to the point of using force now until they try to come into my house. Now they broke my gate down. They're marching in my front of my house. If they're not trying to torch no trees, or they're not trying to torch my house to put me in danger, then I'm hoping that they'll go ahead and leave. But if I go out that door, I'm just exciting into what they have already done anyway.
Would you have a
weapon? So you do have levels.
If you do come out, would you have a weapon in your hand or no?
Well, I'm a concealed carry permit holder. I mean, I don't have to brandish it because, you have to know if you're going to carry something or if you're going to do something, you need to make sure you know your laws, because even if you're doing the right thing and other people see it, they can turn it around on you. So I would be. I don't go anywhere without mine, but I'm not going to brandish it unless I have to use it.
Right.
And that comes with training. Everybody, that's the problem, is those people, I understand them defending, and everybody has a right to defend your property and defend yourself. But there are some people that are fluidly just not trained, don't know their laws, and quite frankly, they shouldn't be having a weapon in their hand because they'll cause more harm than anything.
So should they be arrested for, let's just say, the long gun? We can't say he brandished that because he didn't have a strap for it. So let's just say that state has an open carry and it's legal for him to have it in his hand.
Absolutely.
The young lady, she may have been pointing it, so we can say she was brandishing it, but couldn't you just chalk it up as a pass because of all the destruction and now they did break your gate? Or do we want to start arresting homeowners for people coming on their property? And we all can say what we may. We all don't have the training that you have, like you said. So I don't know if this angry mob is going to throw something through my window that's going to explode like we've been seeing on TV. So before you get to my home, I might want to address you in the yard. So for a guy like me who's not trained, are you saying just because I would probably come out with my long gun too? So just come out strapped, and what are you saying that I do? Because I don't want to let them intrude on my house and then I do something. That's, to me, that's too late.
Well, I'm like you say, I believe in following rules. And if they say that your property is your property and you have a right to defend it, I would have came out with my gun too. If I had my long gun, my handgun, I would have kept it concealed. I think that put charges on them is just utterly ridiculous. I mean, they should have no charges. I mean, they went and took their guns from them.
Yeah.
So that, you know what that is, that shows you right there that the law itself needs to be fixed. They had a right to do what they did.
Yeah. So what do you think, Miss Genesis?
I think that they shouldn't have been charged, because when I saw the whole video, the one thing about the media that I really don't like is that they skew what's happening, because when I first saw it, they just showed when the people drew the guns. They didn't show when the people broke through their gate where it said private property, do not trespass. You saw them break through there were like at least 10 people in the people's yard. They had no business being there. They had no business being there. Now, listen, if an intruder enters your property and you don't know who they are, they weren't invited. Obviously, that intruder's not going to be invited. But if somebody enters your property, they're not invited. You didn't call me on the phone and say, Genesis 1, I'm coming over at 10:15. Meet me by the gate to unlock it. I want to know who you are. What are you doing on here? And if I have the right to have a gun, I'm taking it out. I'm like, look, I don't know you. You got 10 seconds to get off my property, or else things are going to get bad. Things are going to get ugly. I don't understand why they charge these people, but everybody is just so afraid to do the right thing right now. Everybody's so afraid to do the right thing. What about that couple that got arrested in the parking lot? I think it was Walmart or something, where the lady put the gun on those, I think it was a mother and a daughter. And again,
Right.
And again, I'm not sure if the lady bumped her daughter or something and didn't say excuse me or whatnot. And this lady took it to the next level, started yelling and screaming, stood behind their car when they were trying to leave. She tried to back out and she's screaming, "Oh, you tried to hit me, you tried to hit me." And finally the lady's like, "Look, back up, get away from me." And again, you don't know what they would have done. And she's screaming, "Oh, you're doing this to a 15-year-old girl, and what are you doing?" And blah, blah. Get the fuck away from me. Get away from me.
Yeah. Why
That's what she said too.
Yeah. Why do y'all think that's happening? Because my opinion is it's happening because the media has made us feel like something is being done to us. So we're trying to prevent it. We're trying to fight back. So it's causing animosity. So as soon as any situation that looks racial, if it's the opposite race, it's automatically racist. If it's a cop approaching me, if he's black, he's a coon, or he's whatever. If he's white, he's racist. So it's creating more of these situations, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
But what happened to common sense?
I don't know.
What happened to common sense? What happened to a person making a genuine mistake? Why does it always have to be a racial thing? Why is that the first thing that we go to? Why is that the first thing that we go to? If somebody isn't blatantly racist to you, how do you know that that's what's happening? How do you know that that's what's happening? Okay, are we so fragile? Are we so weak-minded? Are we so stupid that we can't differentiate between somebody having a bad day, somebody who's being a jerk, and somebody who's being a racist? I mean, give me a break.
Right.
How many people?
2020.
How many people that you know that look for an excuse to get in the limelight or look for an excuse to be a part of something?
Right.
See, I think it's a conspiracy, and it sounds kind of funny because the media and politics plays a big part in this, like we all know. Every time you turn around on TV, you see black people up in front of the camera being extra.
Mm-hmm.
They got no reason. They should be someplace trying to work or someplace trying to be productive. But now they're in front of the camera, and that's exactly what the media want to do. And the card that is going to be played from now until whatever, it's always going to be a race card played by either, in this day and time, most of these kids probably never even been in a situation where they can, like you said, ma'am, call it a racist incident.
Right.
And we got a lot of our older crowd. They can't get out of the past. Now they have been through it. They saw what Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, all those people went through in that time, with even women at that time, to fight for civil rights. And we cannot hide the fact that, yeah, there is an underlying factor, but so is sin. Everybody got something wrong with them.
Right.
Only way we're going to change. I keep going back to the real quick. I keep going back to the garden. If we are all rose bushes, and that is a beautiful bush to look at it, but I guarantee you won't take off your shirt and run through a rose bush. In order for that rose bush to grow, you got to prune it. And I will start with our own people. We as black folks, we need to start pruning all of this negative stuff out of our life so that we can be more of an asset like God intended for us to be, especially to our kids.
So you guys are older than me. So my auntie told me about some.
Excuse me?
No, I'm saying you guys are a little bit older than me.
Better.
All right. Let me tell you, my aunt told me about some big switch, which I never heard of. So, and then I started doing some research on what the big switch was, and I can't find evidence of this big switch. So what is this big switch that she's referring to?
I think it's the breakdown of the family unit, because I grew up with my mom and my dad, right? And I remember when I was a kid and I would do something ridiculous and my mom would say, listen, I'm not even going to deal with you. Wait till your father gets home. I would be shaking in my boots till my father came home, because I knew my father was going to, go ahead.
Not to cut you off. My aunt was saying on the lines of, what I said to her, let me give some more context. What I said to her was, I heard that we all were Republicans back in the day. And she said when LBJ ran for president, I guess he ran against Barry Goldwater. During that time, there was this big switch. Even though I haven't found evidence of the big switch, because there was, to me, what I saw is like 2 people switch, but I haven't seen all these Democrats or all these Republicans switching over. So have you heard of this big switch, and what are all the names who switched?
No, I haven't heard of the big switch. I thought you were referring to the breakdown of the family unit. That's the big switch I thought you were talking about.
To me, that's the biggest issue what we have going on facing us today that we don't like to talk about.
At the end of the day,
I don't know.
I don't understand how you are 30 and you have 4 kids by 4 different dudes.
Right.
So none of these dudes wanted to wife you up. They didn't see anything redeeming in you that wanted to wife you up. And not only that, if you're 30, at what point do you don't slap your own head up against the wall and say, well, wait a second, I need to change something. I need to change something.
They don't believe in that. So somebody wrote in the chat, Ronald Glover said it was the switching of the parties. So apparently the parties did a big switch. So who switched?
How do you see the chat? I don't see the chat.
Turn your chat on. I think you should turn it on.
I just tap it?
Big switch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tapping it. I don't see it. Well, you know what? When I go off, I'll go back. Oh, hold on. Wait. Did I? 5 comments.
On that note, Kwame.
Hold on. Did I do?
On that note, I've heard this is what I've heard a lot in my family, or even among generation older than me, my mom's generation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Democrat. I'm always gonna be a Democrat because they're Democrats. They are for the people. So you got generation after generation. Who you voting for? I'm voting Democrat. Why are you voting Democrat?
Why?
Because they want to help. They're bringing the money back to the people. When you so when I look at that big switch thing, I'm not 100% with all of the political jargon with that, but I could tell you that why is the Democratic movement, or why is the Democratic organization group is predominantly, I ain't gonna say predominantly, why is the majority of it is black? And then you're gonna look at what exactly do the Democrats push anyway? Welfare reform,
abortions,
or a type of socialism that separates different groups.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got your poverty. In the most poverty-stricken areas, what is the largest group? Democrat.
Democrat. The states that are with the largest poverty and the most crime are all Democrat, majority Democrat-ran cities, what I saw. So
there go the old school mentality. The man trying to keep us down. Well, like she was saying, if regardless of your social economic background, where you came from, if you grow up on a welfare mind mentality, that's the way you're going to hang and live and die, on the welfare mind mentality. I do realize there's a lot of things happening in inner cities, and a lot of things happening. You got a lot of baby daddies just not in the family. You got a lot of young men growing up on the streets. And while the society sits back and paint that picture of this is the type of person you don't want to be, Tommy. You don't want to be like this person. And then with all of this stuff going on, our own selves, our own people, we take that title and we walk with that. Say, the man just trying to keep me down. I'm just trying to get ahead, bro. But you're destroying your own people. You're destroying your own culture. And in the military, I can tell you, this is where my eyes open. Just about every country that I went to as a black man in the military, I was treated different.
Mm-hmm.
I was treated like I was an outcast or a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
How can somebody in China, or how can somebody in Japan who is slightly younger than me, maybe 10, 20 years younger than me, have that notion about me?
I think it's because of our culture, and I think it's because of what they see. If you look
American
at
media.
right,
Media.
the media and what they gravitate to with us is hip hop, our hip hop culture. What do you see in our hip hop culture? It's dysfunction. It's not, like I said on my last live, we got people creating trap houses. Well, I grew up in a trap house, and I wish they would have came and took a picture in the trap house when I was in it. And
It ain't like what they're showing.
right, it damn sure ain't like what they're showing. And
No.
I wish they would have raided the trap house right when you was in there taking the picture, so you can get zip tied and handcuffed while they bust up the washer, the dryer, the tub, and everything else, and leave your house like that. Now you got to tack up 2x4 behind the door, because that's what happens in a real trap house. You see your mama get pushed to the floor with an AR-15. It's nothing fashionable, it's nothing funny, and it's not cool. But we get our sports figures and our rappers to push. It's like all of our celebrities, and I know I'm supposed to be one, but I never subscribe to that. It's just like all of us are being forced. They're like hijacking their brains and our brains with the threat of losing your job. And that's what everybody's hijacked with. You're going to lose your livelihood if you tell the truth. Now they can't hang you, but it's still a death. It's a career death. You say something that's true in the media, automatically you're going to be demonized. You're going to lose your job. So we don't have a truthful society. We have a bunch of liars. You got people hiding the truth because they don't want to be affected by the truth that they tell.
Absolutely, man. I mean, it costs some people their very jobs to be real.
Yeah.
Standing up. I mean, the first thing they'll say is, man, only way a black person's going to get out of the hood is if he play football, or if he play basketball, or if he rap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not true. That was a vehicle that God gifted you with,
right,
to provide and get out of that. So I think that if somebody uses a sports vehicle or any other vehicle other than sports that's moving their mind forward, and any vehicle that way, God gift you with that so you can get out of where you are and perhaps reach back,
right,
and help. But if you're not met with a welcome hand, you're going to have to dust your feet off and come back another time.
Absolutely.
But people going to be upset with me, but I grew up listening to rap.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the hood. I grew up around me and my brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it does more exploiting our people than anything, because that's what everybody think about us.
And that's what happens. But that's what happens when you grow. You grew and you changed your situation. You had to change your circumstance. But I want to ask Miss Genesis, did you see the Breakfast Club interview with Miss Angela Stanton on it?
I watched it twice, and so I also watched. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. How did you feel? I want you to give your description of how you felt the difference in treatment that Joe Biden got on the Breakfast Club. Because I haven't seen a black woman get attacked on, a platform that large in a very, very long time. So how do you feel the treatment that she got compared to Joe Biden?
With all due respect to the Breakfast Club, they can't really conduct a conducive interview with anybody in regards to anything serious, because when they have a musician on or a rapper or an actor, it's all jokes and nonsense. When they have Joe Biden on, they were so afraid to ask him anything serious. They were so afraid to go at him for him to give any concrete answers, anything that would possibly sway anybody to vote for him. And the fact that he had to leave because his wife was doing a cooking show, and you're running for the president of the free world, and you don't give it a break. And then you have Angela Stanton on there, who is brilliant. I mean, forget about what she went through, right? But she was there. She had to, how many times did that woman say, I want to talk about, my policy. I want to talk. They belittled her. They made a joke out of her. It was embarrassing. And I thought, okay, because I have a very strong opinion, right? I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'm being too judgmental. Let me go back and watch it again. I watched it twice.
I feel the same way.
I was like, okay, you know what? And then I don't know if anybody in the chat saw the interview that she did with Tommy Sotomayor.
I saw
my goodness gracious.
Great interview.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, she was able to talk. He let her on. She was able to do something that she wasn't able to do on the Breakfast Club. They call him a coon because he called out things, but he gave a platform for a woman to say her policies and what her true intentions were instead of berating her about things that had nothing to do with her intentions.
He was respectful for the sole fact that they were two human beings who wanted to hear each other out. He gave her the platform for her to speak on her policies. He gave her the platform to talk about all the change that it was amazing. It was amazing.
Right.
And I just, and that, again, that goes to the disrespect that we have within our own community. 3 people on that panel disrespected. And the way that she held herself together, if that was me, I'd be like, fuck off, I'm leaving. I'm not taking it. But she held herself together.
Yeah.
And they goaded her so many times. And when she didn't take the bait, what did they reduce it to? They reduced it to nonsense. And even Charlemagne the God had to go back and say, you know what, we were wrong. We did her dirt. I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Right. So why does it take Tommy Sotomayor, a YouTube guy, with his own platform, to actually treat her with respect and give her the opportunity for her to lay out her plan? I mean, it was.
Look, who everyone say is a coon, by the way.
Listen,
the coon gave her opportunity.
The only reason why people say those things about Tommy Sotomayor is because he's speaking the truth. And we don't want to look at the ugliness of our society. People talk about, he's downgrading Black women, he's doing this and he's doing. If we don't do it as Black women, then he doesn't have any reason to downgrade us. Stop killing your kids. Stop acting like you're an idiot. Stop blaming the white man for your problems. Get up off your feet. Go get a job. Even if you have to work
Zim,
at McDonald's.
not to cut you off, Zim, this is the time we sit back and just let a Black woman do it.
She's speaking the truth.
Get a job. I can understand. Okay, things happen. Things happen. You have your first love. You don't know anything about life. You have a baby. Okay. Fine. Things happen. But what are you going to do about it? Go back to school. Go back to school. Get an education. Right. We are nothing without our education. Okay, remember, it was illegal for us to read at one point.
Right.
It was illegal. How many people do you know in your neighborhood that don't even have a library card? A library card. Okay, fine. I can't afford books because I don't have a job. Go to the library. Go to the library. You can go and you know the most dangerous place on earth? Not the streets, it's the library. It's the library.
Knowledge is power.
Because once you open up your mind and you realize that there's a bigger world, that there is something deep within you that you can fulfill your desires and your wants and your needs, you're a dangerous human being. The world isn't worried about some fool on the corner with his pants around his ankles because he's going to be dead next week. The world are afraid of people who want to do something with themselves, who want to make something out of their lives, because that's the motherfucker that you want to stop, not the fool on the corner.
Right. What would society be like? What would society be like if the strong Black woman and the strong Black man stop fighting against each other because of all of the rhetoric and the stigma placed upon them by those on the outside and even within? What would it be like to have now this is just a figure of speech, but you see in the movie Black Panther. I mean, you had a civilization and that in the movie was so far ahead, well advanced in technology, well advanced in knowledge. And though that is it's a movie and it's a figure of speech, or it's an utopian example. But what if you take that same thing now, in this day and time, beat the stigmatism? You have Black folks that now you go to school. If you got that opportunity, you go to school. You use your talents and whatever you have, join together, not trying to say making this a Black thing. I'm talking about doing what we were put here to do in the first place, doing what the freedom that we have, that our ancestors fought so hard for. Like you said, at one time, we wasn't even allowed to read. Wasn't even allowed to ride the buses. Women for the longest wasn't even allowed to vote. Black men for the longest had to take labor jobs because they figured they wasn't intelligent enough to do those jobs, being doctors and lawyers and stuff. So if we just like an Etch-a-Sketch, I don't care what the picture looks like on an Etch-a-Sketch, but if we can, this day and time, if we could just start over with that mentality level, shake it, write a new picture, because in this day and time, we're not going to be able to move forward. And I'm speaking solely to our Black community. We're just not going to be able to move forward and be intended to do what we're supposed to do if we can't shake that Etch-a-Sketch among ourselves.
Right. So let me ask you this. Let me bounce this off of you too. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the point that my mother taught me, she said to me, when you decide to go out and get married, be strong enough to know when to be weak enough to need your man. Be strong enough to know when to be strong enough to know when to be weak enough to need him. Because it's all fine, well and good, you're a strong Black woman and you're a strong Black man. But at the point, you have to say, okay, you know what, babe? This one, I feel you on it, but
let's go.
I'm just going to have your back on this one. I'm going to let you take the reins. I'm going to let you lead because I trust you enough that you're going to lead us in the right direction.
Right.
I might be afraid because, you know, women, we're emotional. We'll fall back and we'll cry and we're like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. And, you know, all of that. But be strong enough to know when you're weak enough to need your man and be able to have open communication. If your husband goes out and he's having a rough day and he comes home and he says, babe, give me 5 minutes. Give him 5 minutes. Give him the 5 minutes. You can't just be berating the man as soon as he comes home. He's going to go out the door. He's going to go out the door and he's going to go to Keisha down the street who's going to rub his back, give him a hot meal, sit there and talk about how his wife doesn't understand him and it's all good over here, babe. Just come here and da 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 da. And when Keisha gets it, you know what's going to happen? She's going to turn into the wife. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to go to Letitia down the street.
Yeah, I met Keisha a few times.
All right. Be in a situation where you know what your strengths are and you know when to fall back.
Right.
You know when to fall, and I don't understand how you can't just let the man lead. He's the man. It's his job to lead you, to guide you.
Oh, if you're wait a minute now. You go get women jumping on you now. They hold up now. What you mean men's supposed to lead?
I can't lead. Listen.
Why you can't?
Listen to me. I can support.
What?
Right? I can compromise. I can help you build. But listen, I'm not going out there and mowing no lawn. I'm not shoveling no snow. I'm not building no house. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. Now, I'll make sure you have a hot cup of coffee when you come inside from mowing the lawn or shoveling snow or cold or whatever it is that you need. I will be there. I will be there.
Yeah.
Now, if you're acting up, I'm not going to call you out in front of your friends. I'm going to wait till we get home and I'm going to say, babe, look, you need to check yourself on that one.
Oh, well,
But I'm going to respect. Listen, I was born in the Caribbean. Oh, okay. So I'm going to understand and know and I know I'm going to get roasted in the comments for this one, but hey, at the end of the day, such is life. A man has a certain role in life and a woman has a certain role in life. And that's just the way it is. And women, you cannot have it all. Women, you can't have it all. You can't. You cannot have it. You have to make your choice. And be comfortable with that choice because, okay, you want to be the CEO of a company, you're not going to have a successful family because somebody else is going to be raising your kids. It's and we just fall into this trap that, oh, I want to be the man and I don't need no man and I can do this. And you do need a man because you can't have a kid without a man. Even if you go to the sperm bank, it's another man's business that you need to give that kid to you. So you know what? You need a man. You need a man. And I am sorry, but I am not that strong. I'm not that strong.
But see, that may have been pumped in your culture and where you're from, but that's not pumped here. It's almost like offensive. And that's the thing. I think I saw TD Jake say this. He said, you don't have to tear down a man to build up a woman. And I agree with that. I just think you're saying that everybody is strong in their role and you just star in your role instead of saying fighting over who's strong and who's the strongest.
Absolutely.
My woman is strong at what she does. I can't do that. And just like you're saying, as far as cutting the grass and things that I bring to the table, I'm strong in that. So allow me to do that. And I think if we stop infighting and just understand our roles better, then it'll be simple.
But what happened to the common denominator of just respect? I mean, we have a lot of work to do. We have because the disrespect is monumental. If we can get over that hurdle, scale that mountain, then we can start. Because you have parents now who are friends with their kids. My mother and father weren't my friends; they were my parents. They were my parents.
Yeah.
So how do you?
They were my parents.
That word right there, what you said is the reason why I believe that our Black culture is the way it is right now.
Mm-hmm. What word?
The lack of respect for one another.
Okay.
If we had the respect for one another, like you're saying, if I respected my wife like I should and always should have been doing, there wouldn't be any type of problems. If we, as a man and a woman, if we respect each other, we can bond, we can move forward. But see, this is the thing. We fighting amongst ourselves. They on the outside looking at you fight amongst yourselves. So when you're fighting amongst yourselves, you can't see the big picture. And the big picture is there's a lot of turmoil and a lot of chaos that's going on in our Black community that some other people in our Black community have distanced themselves away from their own people.
Woo, don't say that.
So they are not categorized.
Don't you say that. Lord have mercy. So you saying it's black flight too?
Look at him. If you lived in the hood, and you came home every day in the hood, and your own people is destroying everything around you, you feel for your wife, your kids, your family. And when you come home and you see your kids that can leave out that door any day and may not come back, what are you going to do?
Shot from the house.
Or a shot from the house. You're going to leave.
Yeah.
So if we get out there and march and say Black Lives Matter, what we need to do is to turn that march around, go back in the neighborhood, and everybody you see on the street that's a color like you, let's see if we can go and start changing things to get you off the street.
So let me ask you this. You saying, so basically what it sounds like, if we get all the things that we're looking for, if we get the reparations, if we get the equality, they give us a boatload of money or whatever else. Are you saying that because everybody else make it seem like once we get this money and once we get equality, because I don't know what we can't do right now, but once we get more equality and this money, that we just gonna kumbaya and everything is fixed? So are you saying that everything is not going to be fixed?
We're gonna get rammed.
I say that when you give an alcoholic
we're gonna get rammed.
more money, he gonna buy more alcohol. You give a drug dealer more money, he gonna buy he gonna buy more drugs.
Mm-hmm.
If you give a dude that don't want to take the responsibility of his own kids more money, he just gonna have more kids that you're not gonna take responsibility of.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we can get out there and yell to the government, yeah, we need our 40 acres and a mule. If we keep yelling that, have that mentality, what can really make the government, or I would just say it, what will really make our system more afraid is when they start looking into the neighborhood and see that they're being built up without government assistance. They're being cleaned and things are going on without government assistance. People are turning into welfare, say, I don't need it no more, I'm going to work. And just have a Honda Accord and not a Lexus and a Cadillac Escalade. When they start seeing the mentality of our people or anybody that's been in the welfare system from birth, and now they raising kids in it. When they start seeing that turn.
See, when I talk to older brothers like you, and you guys like you tend to give an honest answer, like, hey, we could be doing something different, because I think because you saw back then and now, and like you guys tell the truth. A lot of you guys tell the truth, but some of us lie. Turn your mic back on. I think your mic is off, Miss Jensen. Let's see. There it is. You back on. Can you hear me? Hold on. I got you. Hold on. Oh, now you're gonna have to unmute yourself. Try to unmute yourself, Miss Genesis. There it is. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
We're good?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
did
you want to say something on that topic? Ms. Genesis, can you hear us? Can't hear you. It went out. It say you unmuted. Can't hear you. Hold on. I tell you what, I'm gonna let you out and just come back in. Just go out and come back in. Let's see if she'll come back in and we can get her back in, Jim.
Roger that.
But I think you was on to something with what you were saying about, just the way we have it set up. I just don't see how we can't see the things that we need to do and the things that we need to improve upon without calling people names and without doing the stuff that we're doing. Absolutely. I just don't understand. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, we got you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I don't agree with this whole reparation thing. I think it's a bad idea. And then how do you compensate everybody? And is everybody going to be fighting over the amount of money that you get? I mean, how are they going to do that? Like, how are they really going to do that? Are you going to times it by 400 years times how many millions of Black people? I mean, okay, so what about the people that have died waiting for it's a bad idea. For me, I just think it's a bad idea. And then again, it's another handout.
Exactly, that's it right there.
So are we so weak-minded that we can't get ourselves together? Are we so weak-minded that we can't come together and understand and realize that we're dying out here? We're dying.
I think
everybody else is moving ahead.
Yeah, I just think they're dumbing us down. I think a lot of it has to do with the media. When you think you're being oppressed, or I think people are hitting the panic button. They keep signaling that it's Trump's fault. It's somebody doing it to you. And that's why when we see on TV, it's a lot of white people out there acting like they're taking up for Black folks. We had a cop talking about it, saying that he can have a healthy conversation, that he was talking to a Black person and they were engaging him about certain situations. And then white people standing in front of him saying, no, don't talk to him. And they would be the ones inciting the violence. Why do you think they're doing that? And why do you think now they're like stepping up so much for us? And the whole article with CNN, they didn't know this stuff under Obama. They're opening up this stuff, this can of worms right before an election. I just don't see how that helps.
It don't.
But we had these problems way before Trump. You had it before Obama. And yet, we've had these problems since the beginning of time. So at the end of the day, it's not Trump's fault. It's not the cops' fault. Because, I mean, I think it was like 19 white people were killed by the cops. Where are their names?
I don't know what are the names.
Protesting.
They said it was
protesting in this. Nobody's
burning. They said it was more Spanish guys got killed. They said it was more Spanish guys got killed by the cops, but I don't know one Spanish person or one Spanish name of that got killed by a cop. Nobody told me. Wasn't in the media. Do you guys know?
The thing I don't understand is I don't know. The guy that I know. He was a white guy, and I think he had schizophrenia, and they held him down, handcuffed him, and I think they choked him or something. And he died in the ambulance. And the EMT people were saying he's dead, and the cops were like, "Wait a second, holy crap, he's dead!" And they tried to make it seem as if he was resisting arrest and whatnot. But then the footage came out of him, of the cops, like, roughing him up and whatnot. And I think it took his mom a year for something to get the footage released. But that's the only, and I don't even remember his name. I'm just going off of it because I saw a snippet of it. But I just think our problems are deeper than the cops. It's deeper than politics. It just goes deeper.
Our problems,
I don't understand why we can't. I don't understand why we can't just hold the mirror up to ourselves and look at it nakedly and say, okay, you know what? I'm the problem. What do I need to do to change? What do I need to do to change? It's not that hard.
Lord
it's
have
not
mercy.
that hard. How do you wake up every single day and you're living in misery? You're living in misery, and you just go happily go lucky, living in misery. Another generation comes up with we're living in misery, and nobody's saying, well, wait a second. I'm in pain. I want the pain to stop. What am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? And again, it comes down to the family. It comes down to your mother and your father. Okay, granted, not everybody's blessed to have parents. Your parents could have died. One parent could have left, whatever. But at some point, do you not have any dignity? Do you not have any dignity?
It's a big difference between an opportunity.
Want a life?
It's a big difference between an opportunity and a handout. Too many people looking for a handout and don't want to do nothing, and don't want to do nothing with the opportunity that's in front of them.
Honestly, I think that we're in a war with morality, and in war there will be casualties. And I've made it crystal clear to the universe, Allah, Buddha, Jah, whoever you believe in, nobody in my inner circle is being taken out. We're not going out like that.
Right.
And in war, there will be casualties. And only the strong will survive, and that's it. I don't have time to worry about you because you're worried about your welfare check when you can go and put in an application somewhere and get a job. There's nothing wrong with, I've been working since I was 14 years old. There's nothing wrong with hard work. There is nothing wrong with working hard. How do you not want to work for your money and say, you know what, I've made $2,000 this month, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy that with my money. I'm going to look at it and say, I bought that for me with my hard-earned money. Not some government check that's going to give it to me. Where's your pride? Where's your self-respect? How come we don't have any pride? How come we don't have any self-respect? What is wrong with us that we have this mentality that, oh, you know, woe is me, and I'm just going to take until I can't take anymore. And whatever crap that they're willing to throw at my feet, I'm just going to grovel for it because I am so weak, and I have so much self-destruction that I'm just going to take the crumbs.
With the messaging that they're being told, I don't think they look at it as being weak. I think they look at it as what's owed to them. I think what you're telling them that they're a victim and you're telling them that they went through all these things, they feel like it's owed to them.
Pull up on them.
What do you say to that?
Listen to me. When I was 4 years old, I asked my mother for an ice cream cone and she said no. Okay, am I going to moan and groan about an ice cream cone? Everybody's owed something. Everybody's owed. My best friend borrowed $50 from me last week. She owed me $50. Everybody is owed something. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
Stop crying. It's like, I don't understand. Why is it that we as Black people feel like we're owed something? How many years of slavery? If you know who's owed something? You know what they should do with this reparation money? All those old slaves, they should go and find them, dig them up, and give them a proper burial. That's what they should do with the money. That's what they should do with the money. Our ancestors are rolling in their graves. They're weeping and wailing at us. Because the things that they had to go through for us to be free, come on. Nobody's oppressing us. Nobody's doing that. We're doing it to ourselves.
So let me throw this question off at you guys, and then Zim, we're gonna start with you first since you've been quiet for a minute. What do you think? Like our A-list celebrities, how come the majority of them all sound the same?
Repeat that again.
Our A-list celebrities, our celebrities that, you know, make the most money, they're in all the movies, they're in all the record deals. How come majority of them, when you ask them about any topic, especially the hot topics that get you canceled, how come almost all of them sound the same?
I personally think that because of the status they got now, because of what they had to do to get their money, because of in Hollywood, especially in Hollywood, because of a thin line or a certain line that you had to walk to get where you're at this moment now, they are afraid that if they say anything against the system who put them where they are at, they'll lose what they fought so many years to get, or they'll lose their status where they at now. In the movie industry, like her name is Vanity. She played with Purple Rain. Her name was Vanity. Denise Williams. Denise Williams was a famous woman, but she made a change in her life. She was an A-list celebrity. She made a change in her life. She decided not to do nudity in a movie.
She was out of the movies.
She was out of them. So I think it's like that. When you obtain that status, you're not gonna you're gonna get to the point you're gonna start looking at it. You're gonna look to the left. You're gonna like, well, I don't want to go back where I came from. And then you're gonna look over at the right. That's where I want to continue to go. So you either gonna you're gonna compromise, or you're not gonna say anything. You're gonna turn a deaf ear.
Yeah, and that's where I was at. I wasn't saying anything, and then anytime, and the reason why I didn't say stuff a lot is because the media wasn't as big when I played. It was just starting to get there, but I really stayed off of it, and as long as you stay off of it, you're safe. But me, I started to notice that certain things in certain spaces and certain groups got to say certain things that other people didn't get to say, and if you're down with this certain group, and if you don't have to be like them, but if you're down with them, you get protection for certain behaviors. So I was just like, man, this is kind of weird. But I always lived my life, and I always wanted to be able to look myself in the mirror. So I wouldn't compromise myself for no amount of money, and I won't. More importantly, I won't compromise the truth. And I think a lot of people, if they can live like that, having money. I was making $8 million a year, and I was depressed. I was miserable. So once I learned that it was more important for me to live in peace than to live with so much money, because there's only one car I can drive at a time, and I still got a couple. So, I just look at it as I want to live in peace. I don't want to have to compromise myself or say certain things that I know are not true. I can go to sleep at night comfortable knowing that at least I told the truth to somebody that might resonate with my story and understand that I didn't get here through asking somebody else. I got here being useful in a room. And I tell people this all the time. Most celebrities are not being honest with you. If they tell you the grind that it took to get there, then it'll usually cut most of you from the run-ins right away. Because most people, you have to be selfish in order to, get to certain levels. You don't have friends, you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a life outside of your baby. That thing that you're focused on, that thing that you're driving towards, you don't have time to antagonize a celebrity on social media. You don't have time to do none of that. Because when I was trying to make it out of where I made it out of, my mom told me, we don't have money to get you to college. So I'm like, damn, it's on me. Then my brothers went to prison, from the things that they were doing. And it's like, well, dang, now my mom need help. So the whole time, as an honor roll student, as a top athlete, I'm juggling a job to help my mom. So I'm going through all of these things as a child since I was 14 years old. So, and then I make it to the NBA, and now I'm gifting my brothers, I'm gifting my family things. And the normal person that's in the right mindset that work and strive for these things, I'm just handing it to them. And so by me handing it to them, they're not respecting it. And so all of the things that I hand to them, they didn't do anything with them. All the opportunities, all the things that I tried to do, they didn't appreciate them because they didn't work for them. So that's when I learned through my real life, and I know it's other athletes that have similar stories. We waste a lot of money trying to bring other people along and bring people up, kind of like welfare. And I realized that that doesn't work. You can't cheat the system. It's either in you or it's not. And then I started studying animals. I started studying birds. Like, birds are smart enough to know that if you can't do what you're designed to do, there's nothing another bird can do to help you. At a certain age, they're going to expect you to be able to do what you're designed to do, which is fly. And as a human being, we're all designed to take care of ourselves and to find that love and be together. We're designed to be together with someone else. So, but we have great capabilities to think. We have discernment. We can take care of ourselves. We can make decisions on the fly. So if you hinder that ability and put this kid in a situation of chaos, then I think it's going to be hard for kids to reach their full potential, because you can't leave that kid with just a mother. Mothers are going to be, if they're working and they're stressed out, a woman in a stressful state is very dangerous to a child and anybody. That's why you see certain situations where they kill their kids, because women are emotional. And I wouldn't leave a kid with just a man. Like, we are a little more calm, but at the end of the day, I still think sometimes I'm a little too hard on my son. I'm going to say, boy, get up every time. And sometimes he don't need to hear that, just get up. He needs to hear that, get up. But he also needs that follow-up of a hug from a woman. You know what I mean? That's something that I think that balance provide. You know how your daddy is. He's going to tell you to get up every time, because use them as, as a man, we tell children now it's okay to cry as young men. But then they grow up to be a man. Who cares if you cry? They make memes as if you're a grown man, you cry on this internet right now, there'll be a meme floating around about you. Yep. No one cares if you cry as a man. A woman, if a woman cries, and she could be a stranger, that's gonna do something to me because that's a woman. If a dude is crying, I'm like, oh, dude, trip it up. let me get.
Yeah, what are you crying for?
Yeah, what are you crying for? Be a man. So it's like you need that balance. You need a man to get him ready for how real life is gonna be. But you need a woman to also understand that he's still a child and come with that follow-up love. So it's just things in my life that some of the stuff that the Democrats and some of the stuff that society is pushing, it goes totally against what's healthy and what's conducive for a kid. So what do you guys say to the pushing of the single motherhood and the victimology and feeding children that you can't? Because all I had growing up, I didn't have an environment to show me that I could make it. The only thing I had was my dream that I could make it. I would see a TV, I would see Magic Johnson, I would see MJ, and I would dream that I'm going to be like them. So that's all you have as a kid. If you cut that off, I think, you royally screwed up this kid. So what do you guys think?
I just think that you said a lot in there. Let's go back to the birds aspect in regards to carrying your family along, because I think it's robins. Once the robins are born, their mothers push them out of the nest. You got to fly.
Yeah, eagles do too.
It's either you're gonna fly or you're gonna die.
Right.
At the end of the day, you can give a person there's nothing wrong with giving a person a helping hand, but we're not supposed to carry anybody. You're not supposed to carry anybody. You got to give them a helping hand to get to that point. Okay, whether it's a stern talking to, whether it's paying for their education, whether it's giving them a down payment for a house or helping them start their business or whatever, but you can't carry anybody. And at the end of the day, maybe because I grew up with my mother and my father, and in my mindset, it's always the foundation of the home first. It's the home first. You have to instill in your children that, first of all, there is love here. There is love here. You're safe here. This is your home. You can come and talk to us about anything. It doesn't matter what happens out in the street, no matter what you hear. You come home, it's a safe place. There's continuity, there's consistency, there are rules. These kids running around out here, they don't know anything about rules. They do something, they get a slap on the wrist. And again, it goes back to, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent. I'm here to guide you until you're old enough to guide yourself. What are you doing on and another thing too with the social media, how are you on Instagram and you have 500 friends? Those people don't know you. Those people don't know you. You have 500. No, you don't. You don't even know 50 people, let alone 500 strangers.
Yeah.
Let alone, and why is it that in our community we have to look for the external for gratification? Why do we have to look for the external for self-acceptance? Why is it always outward? We're always looking to the celebrity. We're always looking to somebody else outside of ourselves.
That's
what
a good
happened to
question.
the family?
What
happened to the family unit? Because even with yourself, you said that you had to believe in your own self, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had to believe in your own self to say that you could make it. What happened to that? What happened to daydreaming?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to daydreaming? What happened to sitting down and writing out your thoughts? This is what I want to do. When I was 14 years old, my parents said to me, okay, you know what? You're 14 years old now. You need to go out and you need to get a job. You need to start buying your own bus tickets for school. You need to start buying your own feminine hygiene products. You need to start buying your own deodorant. You need to go out and get a job. I got a job. I was working for $3.25.
Whoa.
I went out and I got a job.
Yeah.
That taught me responsibility. That taught me that, okay, if I work for 2 weeks, I was going to get X amount of money. That means I had to budget out my bus tickets. I had to budget out my personal hygiene products. I had to budget out everything else. If I wanted to treat myself to lunch, I had to budget out that money. My parents are good. I stopped getting allowance when I was 14. We're like, no, you're old enough now. Go out and you get a job. I went out and I got a job. I got a job after school. I worked from 3:45 until 6 o'clock, Monday to Friday.
Mm-hmm.
What? Nobody wants to work. How are you 14 and you have the nails, you have the lashes, you have the hair, you have the latest outfit, and you have the phone? You don't have a job.
It's given to them. I blame that on the parents.
Right, and then when you stress out your parents because they have 4 or 5 different phone bills to pay. You got to pay for her hair, you got to pay for your hair, you got to pay for this, that, and what have you, and you stress your parents out. And then when the family dynamics breaks down now and the kid starts acting up, you're ready to bawl God off the cross now. Or why is my kid acting this way? Why is my kid doing that? Why is my kid doing that? Because you gave the kid everything. You didn't instill any rules. You didn't instill any responsibility.
So let me ask you something. Go ahead.
You know what? I'm just tired. I'm tired because at the end of the day, we talk, and we get through to a couple of people. And then you have 10 people, you get through to 2. And then the other 8 go out about and they do exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's destruction there. So at the end of the day, I can only be responsible for my behavior. I can only lead by my example. And if somebody else sees something in me and they're going to be like, okay, you know what, Genesis 1, yeah, I might not agree with that, but I agree with that. I'm going to try to implement that in my life. Fine. At the end of the day, I'm not carrying nobody because I got my own bills to pay.
Right. So
and that's just it. Now we just...
Hold on. I want to ask a question to Zim about young men because I think this is a question that I always ask older men because I know I wasn't there back in your day, but I do. When I look up some of the older men that I look up to, what happened? Why do you think it's that young men today seem to be weaker and more mentally insecure than men in your day?
Okay, you remember this? You remember these old receipt books? You know the old school receipt? Well, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't remember the old school receipt.
I'm about to say nope.
Okay, the old school receipt book had a carbon copy up underneath the bottom. Mm-hmm. So you write on the top.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. I think the problem with duplication. If the father, I would even say in my instance, if you didn't have a father figure in place when you were a young man, or you didn't have any mentor, then when you have your own kids, if you don't have somebody you look up to at that age, you're going to give them the same thing that was given to you. Mm-hmm. You make a fresh glass of lemonade. But when it gets down to the bottom and you don't put any more lemonade powder in that thing and you just throw water in it, you got you some water lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the guys on this day and time now, maybe not all of them, but the young generation now are weak because they don't have that. They don't have that role model. They don't have that male figure in their life. So, and you know, guys, we look for challenges. We look for something that inspire us, whether it's bad or whether it's good. You look for that,
Mm-hmm.
and you gravitate to that.
Mm-hmm.
So you have women that in this day and time that have to play the man's role,
Mm-hmm.
and raise and be a mother to the guy, be a mother to their son, and be a father also. And like we've spoken earlier, it's better to have both and be healthy, because you give a man that balance. You get that man that is not afraid to cry in public, or is not afraid to show emotion around his kids. But when there's some trouble rose up against them, they also seen that man and their father rise to the moment. And then they turn around and see that same man treat their mother and treat his wife like a woman should be treated, respecting her for what she can bring to the table. And it don't have to be money brought to the table. It's that love, it's that nourishment, it's that having that man's back when he's weak and broken down, and strengthen him. So if we can't get that this day and time now, yeah, you know too, Kwame, in this day and time now, if you do not have a stern hand or a good male figure in your life, it's going to be hard for a black man out here in this day and time. And you don't have to make excuses, because see, women been stepping up to the bat for years.
Yeah, they gonna still get it. They gonna go to school.
They've been stepping up to the bat for years.
Yeah.
And we just haven't had enough men to be strong enough to stay in place to do what they need to do to their sons and their daughters. So we leave the system to raise them. And when the system raises them.
But I do think you got to touch on this, because me listening to Tommy and then me growing up the way I grew up, a lot of my brothers, if my father didn't go to prison, if that union wasn't broken, a lot of them sold drugs to help mama. So it's hard to have that young man feeling like he's the man of the house now, and he knows it's his responsibility to go make money, but some of us take the shortcuts and don't want to do what it needs to be done, like I did, and went and worked in the hot sun. But you take the easy way out. This money is fast, it's quick, and it looks like it's helping out so much, but at the end of the day, when they take that money and they leave your mother and your family, they leave you in a worse situation than you started.
Yeah.
So I think we also have to take into account that situation, that single parent situation, regardless of whether this woman thinks she's doing a great job, I think we have to not worry about the feelings and look at the result. These kids are going to prison. Obama spoke on it. 20 times more likely, what did he say, go to prison? 9 times and 5 times more likely.
Yeah.
You know, all these stats that he railed off, those are real stats. So regardless of whether it hurts women's feelings, your sons are going to prison. Your daughters are becoming teen mothers. So we have to, at some point, say, we have to avoid this situation. Let's start talking about alternative solutions to whether we're going to have birth control or what are we going to do to stop this from happening. Because of those numbers, if I knew I was going to have numbers like that, then I would change something. I wouldn't keep doing the same thing expecting a different result.
You're right, man. We got Michael. I mean, we got to start. We got to make that change now, and we can't make no more excuses.
I think she muted us. Are you muted? I think she muted herself again.
Yeah. Yes.
Wait.
Oh, there you go.
How am I? Oh yeah, sorry, I was just getting a call. I had to decline the call. Yeah, I agree with the gentleman up top.
Yes, Zim.
I just think that I think as women, especially single mothers, stop placing the burden on your sons to be the man of the house. They're not the men of the house. They're your sons. They're your sons. Allow them to be children. Allow them to go into themselves. Because how are you going to say, oh, you're the man of the house and you have to help me pay the bills? No, your responsibility is to go to school and get your education.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should be doing, period.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to your question, a lot of these men now are weak-minded because they're growing up with mothers. Women are emotional creatures. We're very, very emotional. You have these men, these young men now who are so emotional. At the drop of the hat, they're ready to fight somebody. At the drop of the hat, they're just, I don't understand it. And it's not all down to testosterone.
I agree with you. I think it is the emotions that they're getting and they're seeing in the home.
Yeah.
And then when the women get frustrated, oh, it's your daddy this and your daddy that, and da-da-da this and da-da-da-da. Look, the relationship that this woman has with the man has nothing to do with the child. If she's angry with the man, she's angry with the man. Don't take it out on the kid, because that child is going to grow up with all that anger and all that animosity. And then 9 times out of 10, when he or she does get a chance to have a relationship with the father, turns out the story is completely different from what the mother told them. Mm-hmm. And this young person is growing up with all this anger, all this animosity towards this man that they did not foster a relationship with because the woman was so pissed off. And it's not the kid's fault.
I agree. I've gone through that situation and I'm currently going through it, but I'm going to fight the good fight and I'm going to continue trying to be positive. I mean, but it's hard. It's hard on a lot of men to always have to feel like there's a burden. You know, you got to look over your shoulder. You got to worry to move on and all these things, because it's like you have this thing that could, if you don't do something right, you can go to jail. You know what I mean? So having a child should be a pleasant experience. Not like this.
That's the thing that I don't. Yeah, that's the thing that I don't understand is these women are so vindictive. They're so Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
No, I'm back. They're so vindictive.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have? Okay, that's the thing I don't get. You were able to have a human being. You created a human being. How did it go from we created a human being to I can't stand you, I'm going to ruin your life? How did it, where was that shift? Where was that shift? Where did that hatred come from? You want to destroy this man who is the father of your child, of this human being that you guys created in love, and yet you hate the very ground that this man walks on, and you don't think that's going to affect the kid? Come on, man. Let's get real here.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Jim?
Well, I'll be honest with you, brother, and that's what I always said. I'd be honest with you. I think that if a man would do what he's supposed to do, if he's given the opportunity to do it, despite, then all of that ripple effect afterwards, I ain't gonna say it wouldn't happen. You'd better be able to deal with it, because in this day and time, the home is the way it is because the absence of men. I mean, sometimes men leave because they're forced out. Sometimes men leave because they want to leave. Mm-hmm. The grass green on the other side, or vice versa. But the problem is, if God called a man to be the head of the house, if you have that home, and you're not going to let anybody from the outside come in and take over your house, eat your food, then you're doing what you've been called to do. And we have a lot of men that are grown up today on the street corners with their britches hanging down. They're not respecting women. They treating them like property. They disrespect themselves, all because they don't respect themselves. Yeah. And real quick, Michael Jackson got a lyric. You ever heard that song, Man in the Mirror? Mm-hmm. And his lyric says, I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make that change. You can't blame nobody else.
That's a message for both sides, I think.
That's it.
True. Very true.
Yeah, I think it's a through line.
Very,
but
very true.
that don't have a man or a woman in front of that. That has everybody. So I think we should end with that. I think we should do this again, but with so much virtue signaling, I just had to come out and say something. I think, with all this race war and all this racial tension that people are talking about, I think we need more brave people like yourself, Zim and Miss Genesis. I don't know where you're from, but you talk like my auntie, my mother, like strong Black women that I grew up around. It's no nonsense. It's headstrong, and you got to deal with what you're saying. So I respect it. I'm used to it.
I'm from.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us are used to a woman like you, but the media don't put out women like you. They put out a woman who's in desperate need and she can't do it, and that's not our people. That's not the people that I grew up around. The women I grew up around are very strong women, and they don't play. You have to kind of dial them back because they don't play around. So, but they do understand that they're women and they star in their role. My aunts, they still cook to this day and make sure everybody eats. So, but they still don't take no mess. So I'm used to women like that. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Zim. And I
Absolutely,
think,
brother,
if we can reach some of these younger generations, because I don't want to blame the younger generation because it's not their fault. They're being taught this message by older people who are in the business of slavery. They're in the business of keeping people at odds. Otherwise, they wouldn't have a job. So I think we should definitely do this more often. So if you guys see me go live, please come check me out, and you guys can join anytime. But anybody else?
I appreciate it, brother.
Yes, sir. Ms. Genesis, you got anything to say before
I
you
hope
go?
I didn't. Oh, okay, I'm back. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I keep going in and out. Hold on. Yeah, I just want to say thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I'm not giving up hope. I think we are going to get there one day. We just have, like I said, we're in a spiritual war right now, and there will be casualties. So, but we'll get there in the end. We definitely will. I'm not giving up on our Black people. I'm not doing it.
No,
me either. I'm definitely not giving up either. But it's going to take people like us to kind of push back on the narrative, because, like Absolutely. I think the way you two talk and purported yourself, it shows that it's the other side of the coin. We all don't feel the same way. We all don't feel oppressed and beat down, and because I know I don't. So
it's real talk.
Yeah. So I think we just need to have more honest, real talks, and let's soldier some people up so we can stop whining so much, in my opinion.
Absolutely, brother.
So, all right.
Oh, and one more quick thing before you go.
Okay.
One more quick thing. Give your YouTube channel more love, my guy.
Oh,
we got tissue paper feelings in the YouTube streets.
It's KwameHBrown's Bus Life. So y'all come join my YouTube. I'm available to talk to anybody. So y'all
Absolutely.
I'm subscribed. But you don't give us no love. We got tissue paper feelings.
I'm definitely going to be on it more. I've been traveling around. I got a hectic life, but I'm going to be here strong for a couple of weeks. So every day I'm going to try to put something on there, whether I'm riding four-wheelers, whatever I'm doing. I'm going to keep y'all updated on what I'm doing, and we can go live anytime, and we can have a good chat.
Absolutely, brother.
All right. Excellent. Y'all have a blessed night.
Excellent.
All right, peace.
Good night to the gentleman up at the top.
Yep, that's Zim.
Oh, yeah.
Bye, Zim.
Good to meet you.
All right. All right, y'all.
All right.
I'm going to watch this on the replay.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Love y'all.